Hey, good morning, and welcome to my fifth video of recovery. In the last video, I mentioned my recovery and how it only seemed to start 3 to 4 weeks after the treatment ended. But why did that happen? The treatment ended, the recovery should have started right then, right? Well, the radiation is still in your system. It's still working. According to the radiation therapist, the radiation can stay in your system for almost 90 days. So it's pretty much still cooking any leftover cancer cells. My last radiation treatment was 9 September 2021. I didn't believe the oncologist when he said that I'd feel the worst for 2 to 4 weeks after the treatment stopped. So I tested the theory. I decided to drink a small amount of water approximately a week after treatment. Well, it didn't work. I gagged, choked, spit water all over the floor, and I found out that was true. The lesson was well learned. I did feel the absolute worst at the 2-week mark. So how are we going to get through this recovery? Well, in order to recover, I made a plan, and that's step number 1. Make a plan. Get with your family. Put together a reasonable set of goals and milestones to reach. Get everybody involved and get them on board. This makes everybody a part of your plan. Maybe ask different family members for different steps, a certain goal by a certain week, such as week 6, I want to be able to throw a baseball in the backyard. Or week 5, I want to be able to go out to eat. Something like that. Very attainable goals that you can get to and have everybody involved with this. My number 1 goal is to be eating some sort of normal foods by Thanksgiving 2021, which is about 2.5, almost 3 months. I felt this would be pretty reasonable. As I got closer, everything was still burning and pretty painful. So I talked to my gastroenterologist and asked, why is this happening? Why am I not able to eat? Why can I not drink? Basically, he said that like all muscles, when they're not used, the throat muscles become lazy. It takes a workout to get them back into shape. Just like if you don't go to the gym for a very long time and you walk back into the gym, well, you're not going to be the same person you were. You have to start over. It's the same thing with your throat. In your throat, you've got an epiglottis. That's the valve that closes the esophagus from the trachea. That also becomes lazy and doesn't seal as well. This allows food and water to slip into your trachea and causes the choking and gagging. The tongue is also one of these muscles. It moves food to the back of the throat and helps to push it into the esophagus. The mouth and throat produce saliva to lubricate the food and to help it down the esophagus. Unfortunately, the tongue needs to be exercised to work correctly. And of course, the saliva glands have been damaged during radiation. They are unable to produce the amount of saliva they used to produce. And that's one of the reasons for the dry mouth and some of the difficulty in swallowing food. None of this was working correctly for me. Eating was painful, drinking was painful, and it made me choke. However, to get any sense of normalcy back, I had to exercise those muscles and get back to where I was. And that brings me to number 2, which is eating. And that's how we exercise those muscles. We have to eat. So I started to eat. I started with yogurt and ice cream. Very small amounts and kind of whenever the urge hit. Sometimes a half a teaspoon, sometimes a half a tablespoon. Sometimes just let the ice cream melt in my mouth. And it would just be one at a time. Can get used to swallowing, get used to eating again. I would also start drinking a very small bit of water. Usually like a capful or something like that. So when I would use something like this much water, that was very difficult to begin with. You just have to keep working at it. So see what's comfortable and see what's reasonable. But before I knew it, I was able to start eating some soup, like a thin broth, a bone soup, something like that. And then even got to the first cup of coffee in months. And I have to admit, that first cup of coffee was pretty awesome. Then I was able to move on to soft pasta which would be overcooked, very soft. Some vegetables that were overcooked the same way, again, very soft. One thing I found I had to do is I had to avoid spicy and acidic or chewy foods. No hot peppers. Stay away from very acidy foods and chewy foods such as like bread or red meat, things like that were very difficult to chew and swallow. This brings me to number 3, which is nutrition. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Keep eating and keep drinking. Your body is fighting multiple fights right now. It's fighting the cancer. It's fighting the damage from the radiation therapy and the overall effects from the chemotherapy. Plus everything else that's in the world out there, such as a bad cold and every other germ that's floating around. Your body is fighting all of this off at the same time. It can't do that unless you have good nutrition and give it the energy and the tools to be able to fight that stuff off. Talk to your medical staff about nutrition for recovery and follow their advice. I sought the advice of a private nutritionist who had experience with cancer treatments, and I followed his advice. One thing I had added to my diet was fruit smoothies. I'd start off with more double-fat milk and supplements than fruit, but as I became more used to the acidity of the fruit, I added more berries, apples, bananas, etc., and made better smoothies so they tasted better. And as I added more solid foods such as chicken and fish, I really had to concentrate on smaller bites and to chew 5 times more than I normally would. When I felt I'd chewed enough, I'd try to chew a bit more. It was annoying, but it worked. This was especially important when I had something chewy like red meat. As I ate more healthy and nutritious foods, I felt like I was finally slowly returning to normal. I started gaining more energy. Finally, I felt good enough to make it my way to the golf course and hit some golf balls. That's one of my hobbies. This leads me to number 4. Get out of the house and get some exercise. But as always, talk to your doctor before you start an exercise regimen. You're not going to be the same person you were when this started. I went from 120 kilograms, which is 264 pounds, down to 79 kilograms, 174 pounds in 4 months. I lost not only fat, but muscle as well. By the time I was cleared to exercise, I was not able to perform one correct push-up, not a single one. So I ended up hiring a personal trainer to help me with mobility and flexibility. I had basically become glued to the couch or the bed, and I needed help on how to begin working out with my new body. My trainer required a letter from my oncologist, the gastroenterologist, and the cardiologist to make sure I was healthy enough to work out. The oncologist gave me a letter saying that, yep, I was able to work out as long as we were comfortable with what we were doing and didn't overdo it. The gastroenterologist was fairly restrictive. No core exercises, no abdominal exercises, no running. Because remember, I still had this big tube sticking out of my stomach. And any kind of stress, any overstress of that tube could have led to tearing of the stomach lining or something like that, or caused an infection. My cardiologist was also like, start off slow and work your way into it. In mid-November, I was back up to 82 to 83 kilograms, which is about 180 to 183 pounds. And that brings me to number 5. Stay positive. Do positive things. Probably one of the most important items on the list. There are times you're going to get down. There are times that you think you will never eat normal again. There are times that you're going to not feel like being around people or being around family. Keep at it. Keep working on it. Remember to lean on those around you. Don't hesitate to contact your doctors with questions. Recovery will happen. You will eat normal again. You will be able to go out and do those things you like to do. You will enjoy being around your family. You just have to keep going. You just have to keep working through it. Many times I had 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and I felt like I'd never get to that point. But I am. I'm back to that point. I'm able to eat most of what I would like to eat. A little bit of difficulty, but I can eat most of what I want to eat. So where am I now? Well, right now I'm at 97.5 kilograms, which is about 214 pounds. I think I need to bring that down a little bit one more time. I still have problems eating and swallowing. My saliva glands are not as productive as they were, leaving my mouth pretty dry. According to doctors, they may never get back to 100%. And if they do, it could be 6 months to a year from the end of treatment to get them back. The same with the taste buds. We'll see. Some foods still give me problems. Bread is still very, very dry in my mouth, and I'm still pretty sensitive to spicy foods. Meat such as steak, burger, chicken, etc. takes a bit of effort to get that down unless I really, really chew it up. Occasionally, my mouth and tongue get sore from eating hard to swallow or chewy foods. My taste buds seem to have lost some of their effectiveness, though they are not completely gone. And oh yeah, I had my PET CT scan in January of 2022, and I'm currently cancer-free. Remember, hit that like and subscribe button, and as always, hit me up in the comments with any questions, suggestions, or comments you may have. Love to hear from you. We'll see you next week.